Welcome back to Keeping BZ, the show where Zach and I make an excuse to talk to each other by showing each other a video game. Today we're doing something different. We're doing the SEGA Saturn, but no, it's not Sonic. For once, this is something else.
The city is covered with Christmas decorations. And people
Yeah, this is that Rudolph sequel you just watched, right?
Yeah, Rudolph Shiny New Year, where he meets the end of time and cavemen.
They all look rushed. That gentleman, that lady, that old man. Why do they have to walk that fast?
Or are they all running over each other just for a Tickle Me Elmo?
In the crowd.
Oh, sorry, hang on, I gotta update that joke. It's PlayStation 5 now.
Missing.
Or maybe
That's
it's
true.
something different.
Well, nobody's running over each other anymore since thankfully sales have, like the output of systems has gotten way better.
But it seems like nobody is paying any attention to something important.
Oh, what's that, narrator?
Walking down the street, they find themselves in the middle of Twin Seeds City, facing
Damn.
the mammoth Twin Seeds Tower. It
I've
is
never seen a
decorated
Christmas
beautifully,
tree that big
and the
before, where it's
tower
actually
appears as
towering
one
over the
huge
skyscrapers. So I
Christmas
assume this is Whoville from How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
However,
No,
they
I think
realize
every
what's missing
Christmas
from the
movie or
Christmas
something,
spirit.
they always have some kind of tree that's really tall in the
One
city
thing
center. I don't know if those are
nobody
actually
seems to
real.
notice.
Like, I know trees can get pretty tall, but I don't know if
There's no
if there's any
giant
trees in a
star
city that are
without the
actually ever get that big.
gigantic Christmas tree.
Right.
Without it, the tree is incomplete.
So these kids are sad because there's no star on a tree?
Yes. That's the plot. So, we are playing Christmas Nights into Dreams, which I have the Saturn emulator hooked up to our current date, so it changes to be a Happy New Year Nights into Dreams. Because this was back in that era when Sega put a lot more effort into some of their games, so all of their games were set to the clock of your console, so they would change what happens in the game depending on the time of year it is. Like Sonic Adventure, if you actually played your Dreamcast of Sonic Adventure on Christmas, there would be a giant Christmas tree in the center of Station Square, and there'd be a bunch of other changes too.
That's something I didn't know. That's pretty cool. I kind of wish more games did that, because the most recent example of something that did that I can think of is Arkham City with Calendar Man, I think.
Yes, or, you know, like on the PS2, you had something like when you're fighting the end in Metal Gear 3, if you just, like, have the clock on your system go past by, like, a week, he'll just die. So that stuff was still leaking in here and there, but for whatever reason, it only really became a fad where tons of games would do it in like the Saturn, PlayStation, and Dreamcast era. I think maybe that was just because games, you know, consoles started having internal clocks around that time, so because it was a new feature, that's why they decided to do a bunch of that in that era, but they don't really do it anymore. And you're right, I missed it. I think more games should have time-sensitive events.
Oh, man, I guess the closest we get to time-sensitive events nowadays are live service games, MMOs, and the like.
I guess.
But, you know, I miss when certain games would just add something random, like, hey, it's Halloween or Christmas, here's a random graphical change just to fit with that.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be anything big. It doesn't even have to affect gameplay, really. Just something that acknowledges the time is pretty cool.
So, if you're wondering what the hell this is, Zach, and why we're playing, where this Christmas game even came from, so this was actually a demo disc that was bundled in either with certain Saturn consoles when you bought them, or it came with, I think, a specific Sega game magazine. And it was just like a free one-level demo of Nights that was Christmas themed, and obviously was mainly released around Christmas. Unfortunately, the HD version of Nights, like, you can get like an HD version of Nights into Dreams nowadays, and it does include some of the Christmas content, but it does axe a lot of the extra bonus stuff this version had. On the Saturn, you can actually unlock Sonic as a playable character in Christmas Nights, but it's like an RNG sort of thing. And I tried to do it earlier today, but I couldn't get it to work. And I guess it's just as well that we didn't have to see the Sonic mode.
I should have known if you picked this, there was going to be some way to play as Sonic in it.
Yep.
But even life is telling you, no, you're not getting Sonic this time.
Oh, but it's Sonic. He's
I know,
cool
and he
and
does gotta go
fast
fast.
from the 90s.
Bran, your childhood is over, just accept it.
I know. My childhood is over, and also my childhood was kind of a lie dominated by a character who hasn't really done a whole lot that was good until the last couple of years. Okay, I gotta get back to the Christmas tree. There we go. Bonus
We all
time
have
start.
something like that.
Yeah.
My biggest lie was thinking the anime is good.
Oh no, Zach,
Nah,
that might be a
of course
controversial opinion.
No, I'm sorry. No, there's good anime. Just, I always told myself I was an anime fan and that I'd actually watch anime, and I'd be like, eh.
Right.
I think it's just I like the aesthetic, but the actual plots of a lot of animes just aren't my thing. I think it's more I like JRPGs than I actually like anime. But yeah, it's New Year's. We should talk about New Year's-y stuff. Maybe future plans for the channel, or just future plans we have for the new year. Any resolutions? I don't really make resolutions because every time I do, they're just gone in a week like everybody else's, so I've just given up. My New Year's resolution is not making a New Year's resolution.
Right. Because we never often follow up on them no matter how much we try. I mean, it's good to have goals at least, or at least, you know, set projects you'd like to have done before the year's out, but you don't have to pressure yourself into constantly setting due dates unless, you know, it's something that is so important that it needs to be that way. And I guess since we're talking about the channel, Zach, if you want to, you can pull up our channel and we can sort of talk a bit about what our content output was this year.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing something similar. Let me pull that up real quick.
But as it is, I enjoy Nights into Dreams. It's a very relaxing, very breezy, easy kind of game. I mostly am used to playing the PS3 HD remaster, which, you know, did the thankful thing of allowing you to have widescreen so you can actually see where you're going, while the Saturn version does not. Okay, where is that Christmas tree?
Despite the fact that we've been really inconsistent, we did upload a lot of things this year.
So what did we start the year out with?
We started it with January 19th uploading Resident Evil 4 Part 1. That's a Let's Play we really should have finished before the year was over, but just...
Yeah.
I don't know. Just scheduling conflicts, unfortunately.
I was pretty happy with how that playthrough was going overall. I mean, we did have that one part that suddenly just skyrocketed in views out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's at 572. Wait, it's at 572 with 8 likes? I could have sworn that was at 4 or 3 likes when I last looked at it. Where'd the... Like, it looks like I got another small spike for no reason. Hang on, there's 2 comments. Oh, no, they're oh, no, never mind. I know what the 2 comments are. Okay, yeah, I thought we were more productive this year than... But now that I'm looking at all these videos, yeah, it's mostly just all keeping busy stuff. Which I do like doing keeping busy, but...
They're definitely the easier videos to output because it's, you know, much more casual and it's only one game of video and not having to do a whole bunch of parts that we have to maintain enthusiasm for throughout all of them.
Yeah, we still have enthusiasm for Resident Evil 4, and we're still going to do it. We just gotta find time, and it's just easier to find time for keeping busy. Especially since I feel like this channel is, or at the very least the way I view this channel is, it's kind of becoming more about Brian and I just, or like Alec too, it's just all about all of us showing off games that we like and we're interested in. That's just, something like that is just easier to do, and I think it kind of sets us apart a little bit.
And also, I mean, it hasn't helped that you and Alec have both been focused on game development, which has made it harder for you to do this kind of stuff. So that's why it's
true,
that's why it's affected Resident Evil 4 especially, since Alec has been kind of out doing his own thing.
Yeah, but I've also been trying to think about my own stuff to do. I've just pulled myself in so many directions because I've got this game to play, I've got that game to play, I've got this show to watch, I've got that show to watch, I've got this game to work on, but I'm going to take a break from that game to work on this one, but then I'm going to take a break on that one, and so on and so forth. Oh, and then I was trying to do some things on my solo channel that just didn't really go through because it wasn't as fun to record as I was hoping it was going to be. And it's just so much more fun to record with somebody else than just on your own. Right.
Yeah, I don't know how Super Great Friend does it because I cannot keep it up even when I'm doing solo. I mean, I don't mind rambling on and on and on, but I'm just afraid that it's not very interesting as opposed to having somebody else to bounce ideas off of or different opinions of what's currently going on.
Honestly, I'm going to just start making a bunch of videos in a row. Just to give myself something to do, and also because I need playthroughs to listen to while I sleep. Because for some reason, I need a full entire 8-hour playlist, or I can't go to sleep. I don't know why. Just how I've been for years. But yeah, before we talk about the future of ABZ, let's talk about just the year, some of our favorite stuff that we did. I quite like 30-Year-Old Man Screams a Children's Game.
Yeah, that was a fun video. Very spontaneous, but I think it really was just a really wholesome, funny video.
But for some reason, out of all the videos we've uploaded that have likes and dislikes, the two that have one dislike are 30-Year-Old Man Screams a Children's Game and Bubsy, of all things. And I like to think someone disliked Bubsy because we were talking shit about a game that's bad. Even though I tried so hard to talk about all the good parts, but it's hard to do that because it's Bubsy. It's just funny that we got a dislike on Bubsy, of all things.
Right, and it has to be the small community that really is a fan of that game. I can't think of anyone else that would have done something like that. Which, I mean, is fine. If you like Bubsy 3D, then whatever, but it's objectively, it has a lot of problems just in the, like, you know, I once was in a chat room with somebody that was a big fan of Sonic 06 and was trying to desperately defend it to me. And when I pointed out that, okay, but like, do you like this game in the objective ways that make it a good piece of art? Or have you just adapted so well to its jank that you've just accepted the bad parts of it, and you're able to just deal with that? And he's like, okay, maybe that's actually what's going on. And he at least agreed with me on that. And that's what I feel is the deal with Bubsy 3D, but I don't think people that actually love that game are going to admit that kind of thing. They're just going to say, no, it's actually a good game and you're wrong.
When I tried looking up a playthrough of Bubsy 3D, just to see if anyone had done a full playthrough of that game, I did find someone recorded one part, and I think his whole entire channel was Bubsy related, and he was going to do a playthrough to show how good Bubsy 3D is. He's only uploaded one part. To be fair to that guy, he played those levels flawlessly. Like he had been playing that game for years. He makes that game look like it does not control like complete ass. But just, but then when people in the comments were saying this game's not that good, he'd just be like, no, it's better than Super Mario 64, and I was like, whoa! Whoa! I have hot takes, but
Yes.
there are some takes that are like the sun type of hot.
And let's be real, Zach, there's
That's
parts of
not-
Mario 64 that have definitely not aged well, but compared to Bubsy 3D, are we joking here?
I mean, I'm sure this is an opinion only 2 or 3 people ever hold.
Oh,
But
sure.
It's... Oh, so I hope Nights is going well, because I haven't been paying attention to the gameplay the entire time. I assume you're doing well.
I got an A on the first run of the level, but now I'm being really bad, which is a shame because I actually was able to get a full A playthrough when I played this earlier, but that's fine. I don't really care that much about being super expert Knights gameplay because ultimately this game is one of those games where you only really get good at it by playing it a million times and memorizing the level layouts because it's kind of hard to see where you're going. But as it's just a casual game, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is worth giving a shot to.
Yeah, Nights does look super chill to play. Let's see, but I think I was in the middle of talking about what we liked that we did this year. So, I mean, like I said, I like the Your Old Man Screams a children's game. I think that video is funny. But in terms of probably my favorite video to either go back to or like a video I had a lot of fun making, I think it's the Illbleed video. Although there's quite a video. Like honestly, I've been really enjoying doing our Resident Evil 4 playthrough, which is weird because, as I said in that playthrough, I started off knowing really nothing about Resident Evil 4. I never played it before. That playthrough convinced me to play it, and now I'm a massive fan. And I've also even beaten the remake too.
Yeah, which is a very, I mean, it keeps much of the same set pieces, but in terms of controls and feel, it's a very different type of experience. But yeah, I'm happy that ended up working out for you, and a game that I told you was good actually turned out to be good, because, you know, that even though I say all that, there's a lot of times where a game that is objectively good to a lot of people will turn out to be something that just isn't for them. And maybe that would have turned out that way, but I just had this feeling with the action games you have enjoyed that you'd probably like Resident Evil 4, and I'm happy to see I was right.
To be fair, I should have seen it coming, considering who directed it.
Yep, Mr.
But-
Godhand.
Yeah, especially since it reminds me so much of God Hand every time I look at it, too. Just for some reason, watching only playthroughs of that game just didn't entice me, but actually playing the game is an entirely different matter.
Right.
Yo. Yeah, I do.
And can we get this Christmas tree? Oh, I guess I picked up one of the Nightopia eggs. Okay, here we go. Now let's get to the end quick. All right.
Yeah, there's a lot of popular games that a lot of people say are really good that I'm just not into. So, admittedly, a part of me was kind of worried to be playing Resident Evil 4 because I'm like, oh god, what if I don't like it? It's not like I do have a lot of contrarian hot take opinions, but that's not to be edgy or sound cool. Because I'm a person that likes playing video games. I want to enjoy the video games that I play. You know, I wish I enjoyed more video games in a way, to be honest, but I have a very specific niche, and apparently that niche is card games.
I guess it is.
Lots of other things, mainly just either action or strategic or anything that lets me be very memey.
And this is the boss, and like every single boss in Knights, it's incredibly simplistic. You just grab onto his head and throw it. It's a Yuji Naka directed game, you know, just like the guy that directed Balan Wonderworld, so it's very simplistic, but also a bit tough with these controls to try to line up right with that head.
Are we gonna end up playing Balan Wonderworld eventually?
I mean,
Wonderland. I think it's Wonderland.
you can get it super cheap these days, so...
We're probably gonna end up doing it. Damn it.
No! No, no, no! Ah!
I would say what I like about this year for the ABZ channel, it's the Resident Evil 4 playthrough. I swear we'll finish it. It will happen. And out of all the Keeping BZs we did, I like Illbleed the most, just because your reactions to it I find very amusing, which was the goal.
Sure. I mean, I'm pretty happy with how that video turned out overall, because I felt like you were very informative in terms of, you know, talking about what the research you had done on that game and knowing what it was and being able to explain the mechanics and slowly dole out the information while I just sat there being very confused. But ultimately, I think I got a good vibe of what the game was. And I mean, that's the thing, right? I think that video is a good kind of, I guess I would say, an ideal of what Keeping BZ should be. Like, here's a game I know that I want to show off either for good or bad reasons. And well, this friend who hasn't seen this game before gets to react to it. And I think that turned out pretty well overall.
Yeah, I would say that's what Keeping BZ is all about. Like, it's like what you said earlier, it's just an excuse for us to talk, but I think it's also a good excuse to show off games, like you said, for either good or bad reasons. I think Brandon usually picks the good reasons, and I tend to pick the bad reasons. Yeah, because I'm the motherfucker that picked Bubsy 3D.
Would you say Illbleed is your favorite Keeping BZ episode of the year, or is another one you liked better? Because I personally really liked how Donkey Kong Country 2 came out.
I mean, I'd have to go back and listen to some of these, because some of these I haven't really listened to since they first released or since we edited them. But I would say, going off of what I remember, I really liked doing Illbleed. Illbleed's probably my favorite Keeping BZ of the year, yeah.
Okay.
And you would say Donkey Kong Country 2 is yours?
Yeah, I'd probably say that, though. Illbleed's like a very, very easy second.
Okay, because, boy, that Donkey Kong Country 2 video was harder than it ever should have been, considering.
Yeah.
That was on me, though. I should really learn to record with Audacity when I'm recording. But yeah, I'm glad that Donkey Kong Country 2 turned out so well.
I feel like Deep Duck Trouble could have gone better, but I still like that video overall.
Yeah, me too. I quite like that one.
That was definitely a game I wanted to show off, because I've always found it to be one of the more underrated Disney games that isn't talked about that much. Hopefully then we get to do Going Quackers at some point to complete the full catalog of underrated Donald Duck games.
Yeah, we were going to do that this year, but it fought with us and just didn't want to happen.
Yep.
I like doing the Sage Keeping BZs.
This year was also Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, right?
Yeah.
I was pretty happy with that one, too. I know you had reservations about us doing voice acting, and I guess, you know, it's pretty subjective as to what people thought about how we handled all that, but I really enjoyed doing those videos, and us, like, reacting to the story as it went along.
I mean, I had my reservations about it, just because I have reservations about Let's Players doing voice acting in general. I think it's pretty popular, but me personally, it won't ruin a Let's Play for me, but I don't like it. I don't usually tend to like when someone just reads the dialogue.
Sure.
I don't know, it's a weird pet peeve of mine. But apparently it's not a pet peeve for a lot of people, because it's one of our most liked videos. It has 5 likes and 284 views.
Oh, now it's up to 200. It was still at 100 the last time I checked, so that's exciting to hear, though. I mean, yeah, the unfortunate thing is most of the most popular videos are the Sonic the Hedgehog ones.
I mean, honestly, I'm surprised Sonic Mania is not more popular.
It's still decently popular for our standards, which is like over 100 views.
Yeah, for our standards, yeah, but like Lost World got more views. Lost World Lost World has over 1,000. When did this happen?
Yeah, which is just ridiculous.
We have a video with over 1,000 views. I didn't know this. The last time I looked at this, it was like 400.
Wait, what?
When did this skyrocket?
When did it get to 1,000?
Yeah, it's at 1,183 with 3 likes. I don't know when it got to 1,000. When I looked at this a couple months back, it was at 400. It somehow got 700 more views since then. Let me tell you, folks, don't do YouTube. I mean, Bray and I don't really do YouTube, but if there's anything we've learned trying to do ABZ, YouTube's fucking hellscape. Because YouTube popularity seems to be a complete snowball. Because our best video just seems to keep getting better. Oh, better in views, not so much in likes, because our highest viewed Resident Evil 4 video has half these views, but has 8 likes. But, yeah. So, like, unless you snowball, nothing happens.
Yep.
You get one shot.
The algorithm gives you a random test that you don't even know you're taking. And then, if it works out, then good for you. If not, then you either have to get super clickbaity or just get lucky.
Let's see, I'm gonna look at what our most, like, or our least viewed video is. It looks like it's the Obleed one at 26. Which, I mean, I figured the Obleed one wasn't gonna get Resident Evil 4 Part 2 at 69 views.
Really? That's good to hear.
Oh my gosh, all of our Sonic Lost World parts all have over 100 views.
Nice. Yeah, it was a good playthrough overall, even if my gameplay was shit for a lot of that game. It got better in later parts, but geesh.
Welcome to the part of the Keeping Busy where I just talk about numbers in YouTube. But I guess I'm just talking about how far we've come, because we didn't really start taking ABZ seriously until last year, I think. I believe. Nope, actually 2020. Yeah, because it was during the pandemic.
Which makes sense, yeah. That's when we really started to take off, because a lot more people were online. Whatever our definition of take off even means.
I mean, the fact that we usually get a consistent about 50 views, I would say that's us taking off by our standards.
I suppose. There's enough people watching. There we go.
Yeah, I always told myself that I would be one of those people that would just keep doing whatever they wanted to do, regardless of the views and the likes, because it's just a number. And let me tell you, like a lot of people who try to sound very moral and very high groundy, I ended up being totally wrong. Because I noticed with doing certain playthroughs, the bigger the number, the more motivation I had.
It's true.
Because I think when I saw that one Resident Evil 4 part got such an extreme push by YouTube for no reason, I think that made me want to keep going more and more with YouTube for a while.
And then we dropped off again.
Yeah,
like Resident Evil...
Just YouTube will just randomly decide.
Resident Evil Village, nobody gave a fuck about.
Yeah, I feel like it's because Resident Evil Village was a playthrough that was already being played by all the big channels. You know, oh, it's Vampire Mommy with big titties, ooh.
Yeah, everybody's probably tired of it at that point.
Although it looks like we played Resident Evil 4 at the right time.
It's true. People were into seeing, I guess, the original.
Probably just as a reminder before the remake came out, or just a way to experience the original before the remake came out.
Yeah, I mean, many people have played
Like
the
to see
remakes of
what-
Resident Evil, of the Resident Evil games like 2 and 3 and 4, and I've never even touched the originals, so I assume a lot of people are still curious what those games are even like. And I'm the crotchety old man that'll tell you that you should play the original Resident Evil 2 and 3 because they are good video games, but, you know, their controls are not for everybody.
Yeah, I'm still gonna keep doing YouTube stuff regardless of the views, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm better than everyone and say, oh, I don't care about the number of views, it's just about the art. Like, no, I care more about the views now. I'm just gonna admit that part. Because I remember I used to follow this one artist who would constantly complain that everyone else would be doing this one type of art, and they'd get all the views, and then this person did this kind of art, and they'd barely get any views. And we talked for a little bit, and they stopped talking to me because they were complaining that they weren't getting enough views, and I was just like, you can either do what you want and get little views, or do the popular thing and get big views. And then I think he hated the fact that I said that.
Oh no.
Never messaged me again. Which, I mean, I wasn't trying to be a dick about it, but when I look back, that's a very dickish thing, a very dickish way to put it. It wasn't meant, I wasn't trying to mean it that way. But I think I did come off as a bit too dismissive of his mindset.
Sure.
Because I didn't really, I didn't understand it at that point. But after trying to do more stuff with ABZ and looking at these numbers, now I'm just like, no, I get it now. But I'd still rather do our own thing.
Yeah.
And just try to get views that way rather than clout chase.
But I also feel like it has come to a point with us where we still enjoy occasionally doing one of these, but we don't really have the push for this channel that we did earlier in the year or in 2022. And my thoughts are that we should focus on projects that, just in particular, these are things we actually really, really want to do and see get done, instead of just doing another video just cause. I mean, we can still do Keeping BZ when we feel like it, just to have another casual video to throw on the channel. But I think we should think about, okay, but what's really a game we really want to show off and do? And it doesn't even have to be a full playthrough. It can just be a video or a couple videos showing off why we recommend this game, or, you know, showing it off to our friends to react to certain cutscenes or whatever. But I don't think I don't think we can still do it, but I don't know if our output anymore has to be, oh, what's the thing people are interested in right now?
Yeah, a part of me was thinking we mostly just keep ABZ to something like Keeping BZ. Just make it more... Maybe podcasty is not the right word, but I guess you could technically say that's what Keeping BZ is. Just make it more podcasty, we just talk, and then upload it to ABZ. Because I feel like whenever it comes to big projects, where we just all kind of want to go in different directions.
Right. Is there anything in particular that you'd like to do for 2024 in terms of this channel? Any like goals or projects you think you'd like to try?
No big projects really come to mind right now. Well, okay, one big project comes to mind, but it probably wouldn't work well as an ABZ thing. Maybe it should be more of a solo playthrough thing. But one day, I'm going to do Tulip. I just have to.
Oh, God.
I have to do it.
If you don't...
Even though there's already a perfectly fine playthrough of it that exists on YouTube, I'm just like, no, I gotta do Tulip.
If you
And part of me wants to do it for...
If you listening don't know what Tulip is, look it up, and you'll understand why I'm saying don't do Tulip.
I know, but I've got to do it. Except I shouldn't. Look, I was doing a practice playthrough of it many years ago, and I happened to get the extremely rare loading screen cutscene when you go through a tunnel. So now I feel like that's life telling me I have to do it. I still have that video saved, despite the fact it's 7 years old at this point. Okay, maybe not 7. Probably more like 5. Still, I've got to do Tulip, but that one will probably be solo because that has too many frustrating moments that I just don't want to make Alec and Brandon sit through. But man, it would just be so funny to see their reactions to just the random bullshit that happens in Tulip.
I mean, you could do a couple. You could do a couple things.
Extremely ambitious.
I mean, there's a couple things, Zach. You could do your solo playthrough of it, where you're doing commentary solo, or you could play it by yourself and just record your gameplay, and then edit together highlights to play on our channel with Alec and I reacting to it.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like something I wanted to do with Raw Danger as well. But I don't know if I'd ever do it with Raw Danger. Tulip I have to. Raw Danger, it's funny, but I don't know enough about Raw Danger apart from the beginning because I wanted to play that game myself because it looks funny. But for obvious reasons, I have not made time to play Raw Danger.
As far as me, I don't really know. I mean, I sometimes like to play fan games and stuff and like indie projects that aren't finished but might be interesting videos. I mean, unfortunately, my motivation for a lot of what's going through my mind is just like I would like to do Sonic Frontiers because that game has so many incredible, terrible meme mods that just ruin it entirely that I'd love to do in like some sort of video. But that's Sonic Frontiers. That game's a commitment. It's a long game, especially if you're trying to do a lot of the stuff on the islands. I mean, we could run through it, but it's still one of the longest games in the franchise. Let's see.
Yeah, considering how long Resident Evil 4 took, I don't know how likely Sonic Frontiers is going to be. But I would like to see those meme mods. But maybe that will have to be keeping busy. Because honestly, in terms of actual, what I think would be possible projects for ABZ, I was thinking just doing more keeping busy stuff.
Sure.
I was half debating mentioning that I would just make small game projects to show off, but maybe I would just stick to that being a solo channel thing. Or maybe it could be both. But I think ABZ would be best just showing off things other people have made. We could even include fan games in that. I've been wanting to do more fan game or really low-key indie game stuff. Like, not just the big indie games that people know, the much smaller ones that people may have never even heard of.
Right. Yeah, Sonic Frontiers. I'm trying to think what else I'd really do, because there's definitely other games that, you know, are not Sonic or Resident Evil out there that I probably want to show off. I just need to put more thought into what in particular would be good to record as something that, honestly, I mean, most of what I can think of would just be keeping BZ videos. I wouldn't want to sit you guys through an entire playthrough of it.
Yeah, so I'd tell the viewers to probably expect mostly just keeping BZ, and then we'll hopefully finish RE4. It probably only needs one more part, maybe 2 at most.
Yeah, that'll be coming up hopefully sometime soon, that we can just cap that off and move on to other projects. So I guess to leave this off, Zach, do you actually have any particular plans for new, in terms of resolutions that you want to work to for this year? They're going to at least try to.
My New Year's resolution, I think for the past over a decade, has always been, I'm going to finish a game this year. And I think at some point, I just have to tell myself, you know what? I'm just going to upload some games this year. Not even fully finished games. I think for this New Year's resolution, I'm just going to keep it very simple. I'm just going to try to build a profile in terms of game development. Not even really finishing games, although if I do, that'd be cool. But I think I've just reached a point where I just want to make stuff and show it to people. And then if they like it, that'll probably give me the motivation to finish it, hopefully. We'll see. But that's kind of my New Year's thing. I also want to finally finish Lost.
Okay. I mean, you're pretty close from what you last told me.
I am.
So,
I finished Season 4 as of this point.
Because you were talking about Lost back in Sonic Lost World.
Yeah. Yeah, which that was 2021, I believe. 2022, yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. But yeah, I'd like to finish Lost. There's some shows and movies that are classics that I have to get to. I've got to finish some of the really good games that came out in 2023, because 2023 was too bloated with good things. How dare you? 2023, how dare you have so many good games?
Yeah, just... yeah, I paused for a second because I was thinking about that, because there's so much good stuff that came out this year. It was a year where I was just annoyed, because I was just like, look, I need to finish this first. Stop. Don't come out next week. I need to finish this game. And then there's always something new and good coming out.
Final Fantasy 16, Tears of the Kingdom, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Hi-Fi Rush, which thankfully Hi-Fi Rush is a short game, but Hi-Fi Rush, fucking, what else? What else came out this year?
Batten Kaitos
There's
remaster.
just so many good things, it's hard to keep track. Sorry, what?
The Batten Kaitos remaster.
Yep. Yeah, that came out this year, too.
The remake of Dead Space, which I played, and yeah, that is also a really good remake, just like Resident Evil 4.
The Sonic Frontiers DLC came out this year, right?
Yes. Yeah, the DLC, the free DLC for Sonic Frontiers came out this year, which is both really cool and interesting and also really frustrating and hard as balls. But it also gives me hope for the future of the series because, you know, whatever its flaws, I'm playing Sonic Frontiers and I'm like, okay, they're trying. This really feels like something where they're listening to feedback and they're moving in the right direction. It's not like when Sonic Forces came out and they did the bare minimum and just put out a game and we were all just like, maybe we should just give up on this stupid franchise. So, yeah, we'll see.
So many games came out in 2023. I hope 2024 was worse with games, just so I have time.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I have much else to talk about the new year. I just I want to catch up on shows and movies and games. I want to do more game development stuff and hopefully get my name out there and show some dumb ideas I've had for video games. And maybe finally do some writing. Although I'll probably combine writing with game designing, because for whatever reason I can't just write something. Not that I hate it, I just find it so difficult to just write.
Right.
But if I'm writing for a game, it's a lot easier for me. And then I also kind of want to do more stuff on the solo channel, but that might just be game development related, because I'll probably just show off things I've made.
Yep. I'd like to try to do some solo...
What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I was about to actually go off of that. Yeah, I would like to do some stuff on my own. I'll be real, I'm not really sure what in particular I'd want to do solo. I definitely want to keep doing my movie podcast and doing more like editorials and reviews of stuff. Maybe I might try making more podcasts. I'm not really sure. Like, maybe I do like a video game show. Maybe I should just do a show talking about Sonic, because clearly I could do that a lot, and there's a lot of people that listen to that kind of stuff that would probably listen. So who knows? Are
you still going to do that, what is it, Tezuka? Am I saying that name right? I think you talked about doing a Tezuka podcast at one point.
Oh, yes. I'd like to do a podcast talking about Osamu Tezuka, who was the creator of Astro Boy, Blackjack, Kimba the White Lion, a lot of famous Japanese figures of animation that have since, just not necessarily taken off. I feel a lot of them have been forgotten, but especially after the release of Pluto on Netflix this year, I feel like, which I still need to watch, though I've read the manga, so I know pretty much what the entire story is, but I feel like hopefully there's enough of an audience out there after that show that would be interested in a niche podcast talking about the history of Tezuka's work. Like, I don't necessarily want it to be just, oh, here's my podcast with the definitive podcast on the history of Tezuka. I'm an American. I'm going to be missing out on a lot by not being able to read Japanese. But I would be able to at least give my thoughts on an American's perspective going through his large body of work. Because there's a lot of really good stuff that guy made that, while obviously don't hold up well, obviously there's going to be like racial stereotypes, there's going to be all the kinds of stuff you expect out of an old piece of media. But I have a pretty good feeling that it'll be a lot of fun to put together, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that will enjoy that kind of thing. I bring up the Sonic one just because I feel like that'd be an easier one for me to do that wouldn't require as much research because I already know all of the stuff that would be in the podcast, instead of looking up a bunch of it. But yeah, Tezuka, of course. I don't know. I'd like to do playthroughs of some sort. I just don't really know what I would do without you guys. I feel like I kind of need you there for somebody to bounce off of. But that's kind of my thoughts as to what I want to do. In terms of like real life goals, I'd like to try to move out this year, possibly. Like, first I need to find work, but move out to another place. I'm not really sure where exactly I'm going to head to, but just try to get out of my hometown and find other opportunities and maybe find other projects I can work on from there, work on short films and all that. And obviously play all the new games coming out and new movies, because oh my goodness, there's so many exciting things coming out next year. This year now. The Alone in the Dark remake coming out now in March because they delayed it to not crunch its employees. Good for them. All the movies, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, that movie If with Ryan Reynolds about imaginary friends that literally just looks like Foster's for Imaginary Friends, the movie. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, duh, is probably going to be awesome. Yeah, whatever it's going to be, I'm pretty hyped for whatever they're going to put out over the next year. I want to be enthusiastic because as dire as our world seems to be politically and just in terms of the climate and all that, I'm perfectly happy just trying to appreciate what we have while we still have it. And with all that said, I guess that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Keeping BZ. Hope you enjoyed the confusing gameplay of Knights. Zach?
There's one more important thing, I guess, to mention.
What's that, Zach?
But this shouldn't take too long. We gotta talk about Steamboat Willie.
Oh, right! Today is
It's in the public
officially...
domain.
Today is National Public Domain Day in the U.S., so we get to talk about how Mickey Mouse, or specifically the version of Mickey Mouse that was in Steamboat Willie Playing Crazy, and a few of the cartoons that released in 1928 are officially public domain because their copyrights expire after 95 years. So you can now do whatever you want with the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse. So have at it.
It is important to mention it's specifically the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse, not the modern one. Can't do anything with that one still.
Yeah,
But, you know, the fact that any version of Mickey Mouse is public domain is honestly insane to me. I thought Disney would have thought tooth and nail to keep Mickey Mouse forever. But I guess since it's the older one, they don't really care as much.
Right. So,
and I have also heard, like, I don't know how true it is, but I have also heard that there's been, like, some political reasons that some politicians have wanted to do it to fuck over Disney for whatever reason.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
There's a lot going
But,
on that's
that,
complicated in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, I don't know. I still enjoy some of the content that Disney puts out, and obviously they own a lot of franchises I love. But I really love Mickey going into the public domain. This is a good thing to stick it to them once in a while and know that they can't own everything forever and they're not always going to be controlling all of our content consumption. That we now own a piece of it and we can do whatever we want with it too. And now people that are creative are going to do some fun things with that, and other people are going to make Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare Mickey Mouse games and horror movies.
But you know what? We should be allowed to make those horrible Mickey Mouse jump scares and horror movies.
Yep. So we'll see what comes of that.
Yeah. No, I am excited to see what happens with Steamboat Willie in the public domain, because I've always wondered what it would be like if somebody like Mickey Mouse was in the public domain. Okay, I think that is finally all of it.
Yep. Hey, I got about a 17.5-second lap on Nights into Dreams' time attack mode, so I'm feeling pretty good. And I guess we'll leave it there. Hope you guys had a good Christmas. Hope you're excited for a new year. And if you're not, and just know that, you know, the stress won't last forever. Things are going to get better. And there's plenty to always look forward to. And if you don't think that's the case, then you're not looking hard enough. It's no good just being miserable all the time and being cynical. Even if it all is ultimately a lot of corporate products, at the end of the day, there's still a lot of love to be had out of that stuff, even if it's just making fun of it. And with that, take care. Thank you for watching Keeping BZ, and join us in 2024.